Hiya, Carl. Hiya, Carl. None of what you see here is relevant to today's task. If you saw yesterday's video or looked at the title of this video, you've probably got some idea of what's going on today, and it currently lurks in there, giving me the opportunity to be worried about it breaking down. I obviously can't let Benny Jazzmags tell me what to do. This is a car, it's supposed to do as I tell it. So that electrical issue that it had yesterday hopefully will just be an earthing thingy, because if it's anything more, such as the dreaded BCU, then it's going to be not good, because this is supposed to be my car for the month and it's so far not going too well. That's what I'm expecting to find wrong, and it doesn't look bad actually. It looks secure. That's not a good start. That's not a good sign at all. I was hoping for it to look buggered. Now I wrote a quick shot of Carl doing what he would do with the earth cable, because there's a chance he might be better at it than me.
Small chance.
I'm in Aldi car park, and now it's been a very short day. Well, it's been short as far as video is concerned, but there's been plenty of things going on that I haven't videoed. So I'll just have to tell you about those things instead. When I looked at the earth cable on this car this morning, I thought, that's not good, because there's no sign of it going wrong anywhere. How can I trust this car again? Well, took the cable off anyway, 4 small bits of cable, and just to clean it up and put it back. And Carl was with me at the time, and he found that the main earth cable wasn't really too well attached to the lug. So we fixed that, put it back together, all fine. Then Senior must have come down, and he said, well, it's got the wrong lug on anyway. You should have a much smaller one so that you can... I'm absolutely certain that was all that it was. That it's not going to do that again. It still doesn't... There doesn't look like there's any fuel in this car again. It's kind of right down at the bottom. That's about 43 miles I've done in it on £50 worth of petrol. £50 to do 43 miles. I don't reckon that's right. Maybe the thing with these this fuel gauge is, once you've got to the point where it looks like there's nothing left, you've still got about 25 miles you can do. That would make sense. I'm so lucky that when I put that fuel in the other day, that I actually got to the petrol station in the first place, because it was obviously just about to completely conk out on me. Now there is still a funny scraping noise on the front that I assumed was just the arch liner. That's all been put together so it's not touching anything now, but there's still a kind of a sound going on. So I need to investigate that. I need to get myself a clock in there. I need to give the car a really good clean up as well, and put some more petrol in it and use it properly for a month, and then it can go for sale. Oh yeah indeed, inlet manifold, yeah, flush out the coolant as well, yeah, need to make sure there's no issue there. Once the inlet manifold's done, flush the coolant out and start that again. Hopefully we won't see any more oily gunky stuff. Can you hear that? The continuing escapades of Project Benny Jazz Max. There's been a funny kind of scraping noise on this wheel. It only seems to happen when the brakes have been applied. And Craig was just here, and I mentioned it to him because we was talking about this car. He said, oh, it'd be the dust plate. So let's see. Engine on. First gear. Every day I get a step closer to that car being just right. That should be fine now, that particular dust cover. I also realised I needed to tighten up one of the brake pipes as well. One thing that keeps occurring to me is this earphones here, just dangling over the top of there. Looks like a cat's testicles. Speaking of cats, you know the gourmet cat food you can buy? Really expensive stuff. And always on the tin, or it's like a serving suggestion for cats with a little sprig of parsley on the top. Why would they want the parsley? You put parsley on top of their food, they're going to assume that you want to make them sick. Unless you're prepared to admit that your cat is actually stupid, your cat is going to be thinking that you're poisoning the poor little thing because they eat green stuff to puke up stuff they don't need inside them. So that food that they're eating must be bad. Well, I was just about to look on Google to find out how to stop the alarm from sounding when you don't want it to do. But due to my ineptitude, I ended up playing my keyboard instead. Just want to abate the sound a little bit because it's just a bit too loud. Just for the moment, I've removed this, the volumetric pressure control thingy. They do go wrong apparently, and that might be what's causing the problem. I'll soon find out whether that is the problem or not, because the alarm will either carry on going or it won't. And now for something else. The lack of clock. That needs fixing. I don't want a big hole in the dashboard. I want a clock in there. Unlike the Mark 1 clock, to get this clock in or out, you've actually got to take this piece of trim out the dashboard, which is, well, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Jenny Basmags. Oh, now I have a clock. It doesn't work properly, but it's better than nothing. Just about. I don't have another clock. These things are hard to come by. It's the best I can do. It's better than having a hole in the dashboard. These cat's testicles are really distracting. Just made this connection actually. Every time I see a yard cat, the way it looks at me like it's a shoplifter, like it's running away, like it knows it's up to no good and it's been caught out. Do you know the term cat burglar comes from a burglar that's very quiet and sneaks around, and you can't hear this burglar because they're so deft on their feet. But also, maybe it's because when you do catch their eye, they'll look at you like this. That kind of gives the game away. Time for the moment of truth on these funny scrapey sound, whether I've mended it or not. No, that sound's still there. It's gone again now, but just as I touch the brakes, this little, like a dog eating a biscuit. When I'm not touching the brakes, the sound's gone. So I'm halfway there. On Sunday, by the way, it's Gaydon Day. Craig and I are going to Gaydon in Project Nigel. That's right, he's going to travel in comfort and style whilst I do the driving. He's probably going to give himself a very, very sore throat by the time we get there, because he does talk a reasonable amount, that's for sure. Difference is though, when I'm by myself I carry on talking. I talk more when I'm by myself than I do when I'm with other people, I think. That sounds really rather strange, but the truth is, my personality only really comes out when there's no one there to appreciate it. And there's not a gap. So, there we go. No gap at all there between the disc and the pad. Put it along a bit. And now we can see there is a gap. So that's another thing that's got to be replaced. Welcome to the progression of Project Benny's brakes. And I have finally found the problem. With some careful rotation of the wheel. I'm going to put it back together and see what happens. It is the moment of truth for that brake disc. Have we got any sound now? Currently, no. Brakes on. And no. Have I actually fixed it? I was reasonably convinced it wasn't going to make any difference, because it still looks like there's an ever so slight warp, even on a brand new disc. Those discs were supposed to be reserved for Nigel. Benny Jazzmags has stolen it. But that does appear to have fixed the problem. Well, every day the car's getting more and more what I want it to be before I put it up for sale, so that's quite a positive thing. Now, as we go into the final leg of today's and yesterday's video, I can tell you something rather annoying. Boaty's coming round. Not that, but actually my moustache. I've been twizzling my moustache again. Anyway, that's still off the point. Brakes are making that funny grinding noise again. That's with a brand new disc on it and everything done back up, and it was okay to start with, so I don't know what's going on. Have a listen out for it. On the brake. Well, it's not doing it now. Maybe it only does it when you're going really slowly. The trouble is, I'm wanting this car to be maybe a bit too good by the time I come to sell it. But now, things like brakes, you don't want them making strange noises, do you? No, you don't. Because even if the brakes are fine, a strange noise suggests there's something wrong with them. Even if there isn't. And I don't think there is. So Boaty was just talking to Nigel then, and actually being really caring about him.
And
Well,
thank
he
God you weren't
sets up his rubber leg tripod and assured Nigel that he wasn't going to hurt his spoiler. was a rather fun time with Mr. Boaty. Basically filmed us having a silly conversation there, and he's probably going to spend about 3 days editing it into a silly conversation with a few bits missing. I'm looking forward to seeing that. In fact, if it's good enough, I shall share it on my channel. Back to Benny Jazz Mags, the car that I'm driving right now. I have now completed 77 miles in this car, and that is enough for me to give you some idea of what I actually think of it. Although a good many of those miles were with faults that I'm still working through. And the main thing I think I can honestly say so far is that I find it a bit too loud. It's fun to start with, but then after a while you just want it to shut up. Stop making all that noise when you exhaust. And that's what's happening just at the moment. It's funny how I should end up getting in a car like Nigel and feeling like it's quite civilised. But I do. Something a bit worrying is happening here. Must be that I'm genuinely starting to get old. Because this is a 1.8 and I'm not really bothered that it goes a bit quicker than the other one. It's just the noise bothers me more than the speed.